Awesome sauce. How's everybody doing? Are you guys ready for another eclipse? I am. I haven't looked at the chart again. I decided that I really like just kind of seeing what comes up. So I think that's what I'm going to stick with for a little while. I feel like things flow better. I feel like if I give myself too much time to overthink it, then, I mean, that, you know, like there's benefits to both. How do you pick the best course of action? I'm just going to go with my gut on it. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and pull the chart up. Is it sharing? What's it do that? Hang on. I don't know why it goes to a black screen when I try to share like that. I have to select like the whole window, not just the tab. I'm doing something wrong. I'll figure it out. It's over here. Awesome. So this is our chart for the eclipse that's going to happen on the 21st, Sunday, 2:54 p.m. if you're in the Memphis, Chicago time zone, Central Time. I don't remember if it's standard or daylight right now. So yeah, that's why we've got the houses and stuff on here. Just a FYI, like if you're in a different part of the world, the eclipse is going to be in a different house. That's why I don't talk about houses when I do full moons and new moons, whenever I do the moon streams, because the house that I'm looking at on this chart is not relevant for everybody. So let's see what we got. I'd love to hear what you thought of the last eclipse too. The lunar eclipse we had in Pisces. This is a solar eclipse we've got going on in Virgo. Our second new moon in Virgo. So this would be considered, if you have two new moons in the same sign back to back, like the last new moon we had was Virgo, this new moon is Virgo, this one would be a black moon. If you have two full moons back to back in the same sign, like the last one was in Pisces, if the next one was also in Pisces, the second one will be a blue moon. Because we use a solar calendar now, the Gregorian calendar or whatever, it's also considered a black moon if there are two new moons in the same month, the same like solar month. So in January, if there are two full moons, the second one's a blue moon. If there are two new moons, the second one is a black moon. But it sort of, originated with astrology because we haven't always had the calendar that we use today. And some people still use the lunar month primarily and the Gregorian calendar secondarily. So it is what it is. Virgo. The nodes are only like halfway through. Getting close to 2/3 of the way through. So we've talked about how Virgo energy is very detailed. It's very Virgo energy is great for picking things apart, for breaking things down into the pieces, for editing, all those sorts of things. I feel like Mercury retrogrades have been especially precise, pinpointed, focused, while the South Node is in Virgo, or while if the North Node is in Virgo, anytime the nodes are in Virgo, basically. I feel like Mercury retrogrades would be more like this specific thing, this, not so drawn out like, oh, everything is crashing, all my tech is crashing, and I'm tripping when I'm trying to walk to my car, and my car broke down, that sort of thing. But it would be like this one very specific thing, because Mercury rules Virgo, and got the South Node there, and Mercury being retrograde, it's like double check, edit, double check the edit. But when do you stop doing all that? Where do you draw the line and say, this is what I can live with? Ideally, it would be perfect. That's why it's ideal. But we don't live in an ideal world. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to have ideal goals. We're supposed to reach for ideal things. That should be our, how we orient ourselves to an ideal. We shouldn't expect it to be perfect. Maybe Venus is helping with that a little bit. Venus is only at 2 degrees in Virgo, so it's not conjunct or anything like that. But because we've got a solar eclipse happening in Virgo at the very end, I feel like anything that's in Virgo is gonna, the energy is just the sun and the moon's energy and the South Node, their energies are combined right now. So it's just bigger energy. Almost like outer planet type energy. It feels like it's beyond outer planet type energy anytime there's an eclipse. So that's just for me personally. It's cool if you disagree with that. But it feels like anything that is within the same sign is going to fall under that sort of umbrella. So I think being easy with yourself is good. What calms you down, what makes you comfortable, what gets you to that space where you can be still and just sort of relax, not necessarily let your guard down, but let your guard down. Yeah, I would say let your guard down. What do we have in Taurus? Nothing. Nothing Capricorn. Yeah. I would say Venus is carrying the load on the self-regulation. And I think with Mercury over here in Libra, see, they're in each other's houses right now. Mercury lives in Virgo and Venus lives in Libra. But Mercury is also conjunct with this eclipse. It's a 6-degree orb. Remember, orb is how many degrees apart the planets are. So Mercury is at 5 degrees and the eclipse is at 29 degrees. So we've got a 6-degree orb. I feel like that's relevant here. And Libra is one of those signs where you connect with that one specific person Yes, it's like marriage. Yes, it's your business partner. Yes, it's all of those things, but it's also like your best friend, like your best friend, the person that helps you see things that you're missing. It gives you that. They give you that other perspective that you might not be, that you're probably not picking up on, that perspective that you need. They help bring you back into focus. They help, oh, okay, it's not as bad as it seems, or maybe I should actually do something about this. Maybe I should put my foot down and leave my job because my boss is an asshole. Or maybe I really am overthinking it. They just help you keep perspective. And you would think that would be like Mercury's jam, right? But Venus is the one that, because it's got to be an emotional connection, like something that gives us like a visceral feeling, like something tangible that we really like, that we have this sort of emotional connection to. For some reason, I think this would be a really good time to have like a lunch date or a breakfast date with your friend. Oh gosh, we've got that air thing going on. Jeez Louise. Yeah. See, we've got Mercury up here at 5 degrees in Libra, Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius, and Uranus at 1 degree Gemini. I wonder how many times I'm going to say that over the next, I don't even know how long, months, maybe years. Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini. So anytime something comes up here in the beginning of Libra, it's gonna activate that air energy. The element air, it's not like it's your mind, it's thoughts, it's neural connectivity, internet, Wi-Fi, electricity, all of those, any sort of like energetic connection. One thing to keep in mind, I'm sure your TV's hooked up to the Wi-Fi. Doesn't mean you got to turn the TV on. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to plug in everything. Oh, wow. Okay. I think maybe that's one of the lessons from this eclipse is because it's a South Node thing. It's like, like just because the blueprint is there, like the pattern where things are connected, like you can draw like an electrical blueprint. I don't know what they call those. Like whatever the diagram is for how the outlets and wires are running through your house. Just because you have that in detail and you know every little thing about it does not mean you have to run it wide open. Be discerning about what you want to use. Maybe even be discerning about what kind of equipment you want to have. Hang on, let me translate that into English or human. I don't know if my videos get automatically translated to other languages if somebody is watching them that speaks another language. See, Virgo. What sort of hardware works for you and your connectivity? So you have to think about what is most meaningful to you. What this is a Venus thing. What do you need? What fits your space? What fits your lifestyle? What has the most value to you? Is it worth it for you to spend a ton of money on equipment to have like the best connection. Maybe you want to watch all the channels and you need the really good Wi-Fi for that. That fits your lifestyle, that fits you, it's meaningful to you, it has value, go for it. If you're doing it just to have it in case you need it, maybe you don't need that. And it's not just about things, stuff, material possessions. It could be about maybe you have a job in sales or some other position where you network a lot and your network is like your bread and butter, right? Just because you have all of those connections does not mean you have to use them all, and it doesn't mean you have to use them all at once. And I really feel like quality over quantity is important here, because even though we have this big air trine going on, it doesn't mean that it has to be a lot of little tiny connections everywhere. You could just have some big solid connections that are going to do more for you than all the little connections and be less overwhelming. However you need to fit that metaphor in. Maybe it's your whatever tools you use for work. Do you need a whole lot of them just in case? Like, is your tool bag just super full to the point where maybe you need a toolbox, like one of the rolling ones that mechanics use? Or can you cut some of those back and be able to work better? Less is more type thing? Or do you flow better when you have all the little connections? Are you one of those people that is really good at like email lists? You can put out a lot of information to a lot of people. I feel like that's kind of what we're being asked to take a look at for this eclipse. To work with this new cycle of what can I really do without and what do I absolutely need. As far as resources go, as far as, your mental health, emotional health. Lathan, chill out, dude. Would it be worth it to invest in some soundproofing? What do you guys think? Feels like if you can get the right setup, whatever that setup is, a setup that is meaningful and purposeful to you, that will sustain you and your work or your creativity or whatever part of you that needs to be sustained, which leads to your overall well-being, right? It'll give you this space where you can, wow, that's weird because we've talked about that before and I don't remember when it was. It'll give you that space where you can flow, where things don't feel so jagged, so broken, so piecey. Like everything just sort of comes together so much better. And I say that because I'm looking at the Pisces part of the chart down here with the North Node and Saturn. And also Neptune. Man, Neptune, almost back there, buddy. Neptune is at 0 degrees of Aries. So Neptune will be back in Pisces soon. These out of sign conjunctions are so weird, right? Like we've got an out of sign conjunction with Mercury and the eclipse going on. An out of sign conjunction means that, I probably already said this before, but you never know when somebody's hearing it for the first time, and reminders are always helpful. An out of sign conjunction is when you have two planets that are conjunct, like Saturn and Neptune down here, but they're in different signs. So they're only 2 degrees apart. But Saturn is in Pisces and Neptune is in Aries. I'm just thinking about like the influence of the planets on the world. And all of the outer planets are retrograde except Jupiter and Cancer. What is that telling us? See, Saturn and Neptune are in a spot right now where they're caught in the middle, literally, of this trine between Pluto and Uranus. Okay. I was thinking that this looks kind of like a bow and arrow or a crossbow. And like if you imagine if like we're pulling it back, like this would be these 2 thick blue lines on the bottom here would be like the string. And Saturn and Neptune are like where the arrow is on the string, and you know you're pulling it back, you're holding it back like this. So it would be like aimed at the eclipse. And it does kind of feel like Saturn and Neptune are it doesn't feel like they're creating the tension so much as keeping it in check. Like that's the control, the locus of control of the tension. Because what happens when you let go? Every time I think about Saturn retrograde in Pisces, it reminds me of what my shrink says to me. Because I was telling her, you know, like I'm doing astrology stuff, and people come to me, and usually they have heavy stuff. You know, they have like trauma. That tends to be my niche. I was talking to her. I said, I don't want to tell them anything wrong. I don't want to hurt them in any way. I'd rather like tell them nothing at all than say something that is gonna hurt them. How do I know? Like, should I just go back to school for psychology? And she was like, there's one question that will never hurt anybody. It will only help people, and if they're ready to, you know, to deal with it. And that question is, how do you want to feel? And when I think about Saturn retrograde in Pisces, it makes me think of that question. How do you want to feel? But on a bigger level, like, how do you want your world to feel? Not just how do you want to feel inside, but how do you want your environment to reflect your mind space? Like that. Like, how do you want to feel? And then how do you want your environment to reflect that? So you can feel more of it inside, which will just make you see more of it around you. Because our perception is like, when science catches up to magic, we're going to learn that perception is the key to everything. It, like, I hate to use the word manifesting because it's so like, manifest has become like utilized on resumes, but that's that's what you're doing. Like, what do you want to manifest in your life? You have to start with perception. You have to be able to perceive the thing that you want. You have to start like seeing where it is already and build from there, go from there. And I think that's useful. I think that's a useful thing to ask ourselves when we're talking about what sort of network connections we need in our life. And if you're having lunch or breakfast with a friend and you're talking to them about, well, I feel like I need this, I want to feel like this, so maybe this and maybe that. I feel like a really good friend, if you're on some bullshit, they're going to be like, stop lying to yourself. That is not how you really want to feel. And not in a bad way. Just like sometimes, I don't know, like I feel like we all get caught up in that. I just want to be so productive and I want to, have a space where I can really maximize my productivity. And a really good friend will be like, bitch, no, you don't. You want to chill. You want a space where you can chill. That's how you want to feel. Because maybe when you're relaxed, you are more productive. Maybe you don't need all the busy stuff. Yeah. It feels like your friend might be onto something. I'm looking at Libra and Pisces being quincunx. They're 5 signs apart, so there's like sort of that like side-eyed working together type thing. Like, we can do something great together. I see you over there trying not to peek, but I see you peeking. That's what that feels like. And honestly, I think Libra energy and Pisces energy goes well together. That it's crazy how that works, because Libra is all about balancing the scales and making things like not necessarily symmetrical. Balance does not mean symmetry, because the rule of 3. But aesthetically pleasing, and like it gets rid of the tension, right? Libra, when we find that balance, the tension goes away. When there is tension, whether it's like in a bridge or in a Lego build or whatever it is that you're building, constructing, even in relationships, if there's some sort of tension there, it means that it needs to be adjusted. It's not quite balanced. The weight is not evenly distributed, whatever. And Pisces is about like the ultimate just sort of unbothered surrender. I don't know if y'all watch her. I think her handle is I'm Just Melanie. It's the We Do Not Care Club for women who are going through perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. She's great. I gotta find her stuff real quick. I'm gonna put it in the comments or something, so you'll have it. But I feel like that's sort of her goal. That's her ideal for women who are going through that, to get to this place where we don't care. Not because we give up, we don't care anymore, just screw it, I give up. Not that sort of surrender, but like, it doesn't bother me anymore. Yeah, I'm at the grocery store in my pajamas and I am unbothered. And we can use that Libra balancing energy. So try to connect with something. I guess that's my point, is try to connect with something or someone who can help you find that balance. Yeah. Yeah, because Mars, Libra and Pisces are quincunx, but then Mars is right here at 29 degrees of Libra, so it's quincunx with Saturn. So that to me feels like you might have to get creative to find it, but there's some sort of action you can take, some way of asserting yourself, not necessarily like standing up and da da da. It doesn't have to be that, just something you can do, an action you can take, even if it's like asserting your feelings to yourself. Like put your foot down with yourself and say, this needs to be addressed. This is how I want to feel. This is what I need to do it to get rid of the tension. So this is what I'm doing. And Neptune down here says you can imagine whatever you want. You can picture your life however you want it to be. Neptune with this little guru self. I would say that the other side of this would be make sure that whatever it is that you connect to give you that other perspective, to help you find, this is how I really feel. This really is my balance. This is what I really need for my life to feel the way I want it to feel. Make sure that's a good connection, a loving connection, a trustworthy connection, a connection that is worthy of you and your trust and everything, worthy of your friendship, worthy of you having it. Because your journal could be that connection. It could be that thing that maybe when you write your thoughts down, like this is how I want to feel, and this is what I want my life to be like, and this is what I feel like I need in my life to get there, and you go back and read it and you're like, now that I see it all spelled out, literally spelled out in front of me, it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel like that's really what I need. There's still some tension in there somewhere, where it feels like I'm judging myself a little bit. Maybe I just think I need all these things because I feel like once I have them, I won't judge myself and nobody else will be able to judge me. That kind of thing. I'll look like I have my shit together, so I'll feel like I have my shit together. So make sure whatever it is or whoever it is that you connect to for that other perspective is somebody who's worthy of it. Because that's a sacred space. It really is. To give somebody your trust like that, or to give, that's why I'm talking about magic again. Jeez, what is going on? We consecrate things that we love. Like if you're a journal type person, if you really love your journal, even somebody who, because it doesn't have to be like this big ritual, I'm going to say a bunch of stuff and, move a candle over it. Or it doesn't have to be any of that. It could just be like the reverence that you give to your journal, or maybe you collect your thoughts in your bathtub. Maybe that's where you gain perspective. So you keep your tub clean, you take care of it. Maybe you decorate it with candles. I'm thinking about that guy. What's his name? Ryan Holiday, the Stoic guy. And he's got the Stoic Daily Journal. He says he journals every day. I've actually come across a lot of people that say that they journal every day. They write down in their journal every day something as soon as they wake up, or at some point they set aside, this is the important part, they set aside a specific time to spend with their journal, and they don't just leave their journal laying around throwing it wherever. Like, they put it in one particular spot. They show care to their journal. It's a way of consecrating it. It means it's special. We do that with some people too. Like, it has a special place in your life. That's what that Libra space is for. That's what Libra energy is about. The things that are special to you in almost a sacred sort of way, that help you see the bigger picture. They take you out of like your single-minded perspective and help you see outside of that. And they do it in a loving way. Another thing I just thought of, sometimes we do need to invest in this network that is like more than what we need. We need to connect with more than what we need right now, because we will need it later. But again, that doesn't mean we have to use it all right now. It can just be sitting there ready to go when we do need it. Like, if you're somebody who meditates, sometimes you meditate and there's a reason for it. It's like you're meditating to get in a headspace where you can think through things and sort through things. So you're like using that Neptunian kind of woo-woo, or what's a scientific word I can use? I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you put yourself in that headspace where you can think about these things, where you're not distracted. And the answers can just kind of flow through your brain. And then sometimes we meditate just to get rid of the distractions. Like, we're not using that space for any particular reason. We're just sitting in that space. We're being still, even though the connection is there. Like, you might be running a wide open connection to the universe, but you're not connecting to anything. You're just aware of the connection, aware of how it's all connected. It's there if you need it. See if I see anything else. If I'm feeling anything else, if I'm picking up on anything else. Jupiter, of course, the biggest planet, is the one that I'm not seeing. That's funny. Me and Jupiter, we have well, there might be a little tension in our relationship, but we have an understanding. And we're getting along a lot better now than we used to. Jupiter definitely has a part in this. Jupiter over here at 21 degrees of Cancer is really supporting this North Node Saturn thing going on in Pisces. So I feel like Jupiter is saying, and it's in Cancer, where the place where you feel, I feel like that's really helping you figure out how you feel, how you want to feel. What you want your little safe retreat to be like. And it doesn't have to be confined, but it can feel like this little, like when I'm here, nothing can get to me. Nothing can interrupt my peace in this place. That should be your whole world. Just so you know, your whole world should be, nothing can interrupt my peace. And Jupiter is telling you to go big. Here's a blank check for how do you want to feel and how do you want to see that reflected in your environment. Fill it out. Okay, Jupiter. It might make you realize some stuff because, we're always doing psychological work. Well, not all of us and not all the time, but I feel like if you're watching a video about astrology, you're probably somebody that pays attention to your internal thoughts and thinks about, what does this mean? And, oh, I felt like this. What does that mean? Like, you're somebody who wants to go a little bit deeper. So you're probably doing some psychological stuff anyways. So, some stuff might come up. Some stuff came up for me recently. And I was like, huh, okay. So I'm having some transits right now that are shaking loose that back part of my memory with childhood things that I do remember, but maybe I didn't think about them in this way, or I didn't remember that thing. And Uranus is like, oh, okay. I understand now. So some stuff might come up, and that's okay. Deal with that how you need to. Think about what it means for how you want to feel and what you want your space to be like. Because I realized recently that a lot of what I wanted my environment to be like, my environment meaning like my immediate environment, how I thought it should be was a lot more conditioned by other things than I thought it was. And once I realized that, see, this cool thing happens when you when you can pinpoint something in your subconscious, neurologically speaking, that memory that was stored in your subconscious as like this trauma memory, even if it's not like, when I say trauma, it doesn't have to be something crazy, catastrophic. It can just be something that you didn't know how to handle, like your brain wasn't equipped to process it. So it just let's just put this in the storage room for now. We'll deal with that later. Like, I don't know if you've got a closet in your house or like an attic or an extra bedroom where you just put all the stuff that you can't deal with right now. I'll get to that later type thing. Think of your subconscious as that. So all the things that we go through when your brain can't get to them right now, to file them or organize them or put them away in the memory spaces where it could go, it sticks it in the other room, in the extra bedroom, in the attic, in the basement, wherever, of your subconscious. But once you find that box and pull it out and you start going through stuff, it's not in your subconscious anymore because now you've put it away. You've restored those things in the memory places where they need to go. That's literally what happens with your brain. You rewire your brain. Neuroplasticity is a beautiful thing, right? So it's not a trauma memory in your subconscious anymore. It's in your regular old memory storage, and it doesn't trigger you anymore. There might be some residue from where that box was sitting, some dust built up and stuff. That's okay. It happens. It'll probably go away over time, and if it doesn't, all we can do is try to be a little bit better right now. I guess that's it for what I have to say about this chart, about this eclipse. I feel like I have to say, because it's an eclipse, you might, like, maybe you're at the store and or reading a magazine or an article online or somebody that you follow, you see something they do, you see this one method, technique, piece of equipment. It could be a shelf or a cabinet or a pen holder or something that you think is really cool, but maybe you don't think anything about it, or maybe you don't even think about it at all. Later on down the road, a few months from now, you end up with something similar and it just changes your life. You're like, oh, why didn't I have this sooner? This has just helped me become so much more organized. My brain feels more organized using this thing. Because that's what eclipses do. We don't always see how it's going to work out. We don't always know the thing that's going to matter to us down the road, that's going to make the difference. Sometimes it looks like a background character, but it's not. But again, don't get hyper focused on the method, on the process, don't overthink how you feel to the point where your mind feels like a bowl of scrambled eggs. Like, don't let yourself get to that point, because Virgo can do that. Virgo can get so focused on those details that it just, yeah. If you're trying to clean your house, Virgo energy, when it gets too hyper focused, would spend all day waxing the cabinets in the kitchen and getting in every little corner, every little detail of the wood, all of that. And it's like, oh, I've spent 7 hours on these cabinets and I still have a whole house to clean. Remember, we're going for the real world thing here, not the ideal. Ideally, everything in your house would be totally dust free, but that's not going to happen in a day. I mean, it might. You might be able to do that. That might be feasible for you. It might be a real world thing, but generally speaking, if you're going to top to bottom clean your whole house, you're not going to be able to hit every tiny little thing. There's going to be some dust left somewhere. And that's okay, because that's how it's supposed to be. We live in the real world. Let me know what you guys think. If you have plans for this eclipse, if I know a lot of people are saying they just want to do some journaling, that sounds great. They might just go sit outside, touch grass, and you thought that was a older generation thing. When I say older, I mean like not the youngest generation, because I don't know if it's a Gen Z thing or if it's a millennial thing, but my youngest child is Gen Alpha, and when he's online with his friends, they'll be like, touch grass, bro. If somebody's like, oh, I've spent this many hours leveling up to this whatever, everybody's like, bro, go touch some grass. Yeah. Let me know how you're doing the eclipse. If you are. If you're not, you can let me know that too. You don't have to let me know anything, but if you want to, I'm here for it. Also, let me know what you thought about the last eclipse. If you see anything in this chart that you thought was worth pointing out that I didn't mention, please let me know. If you see it a different way, let me know. If you agreed with me, let me know. I would very much appreciate you liking this video. Checking out my other videos. I've started to post a lot more, and I think some of them are pretty good. So check those out. You can follow me on Instagram, Scorpio6x Astrology. Also have a Patreon. All the links are in my YouTube bio, so check those out. Thanks for hanging out with me, and have a good night.